Good evening, everyone. It's Friday night. Welcome to my channel. 今日はゆるトークということで、中国の思い出についてをいろいろ話してみようかなと思いますので、よかったらゆっくり聞いていただけたらと思います。はい。で、私のことまだ知らない方もいらっしゃるかもしれませんが、中国の広東省の広州市に2年4ヶ月住んでおりました。現地ではお仕事をしていなかったので、中国語の勉強などをしておりました。はい。ということで、今日は中国から日本に帰ってきてもう1年以上経った今でも恋しいものについてお話ししようかなと思います。で、いっぱいあるんですよね。でも、日本のいいところも分かったっていうのはあるんですね。で、その中で、それでもやっぱり中国が恋しいなって思うものは何かなって思った時に、一つは、デザート。私ね、中華デザートが好きなんですよ。その中国語で言うとティエンピンって甘いに品でティエンピンって言うんですけど、中華デザートがすごい好きで、それはめちゃめちゃ恋しいです。こんばんは、見てくださってありがとうございます。恋しいもの一つ目、中華デザートで、中国のデザートってすごい、いろんな種類があるんですね。なんか日本に住んでて知ってる中華デザートってマンゴープリンとか、ごま団子とか、杏仁豆腐とかがメジャーかなと思うんですけど、最近だと多分ヤンジーガンルーって日本語読みでなんて読むんだろう。ヨンジーガンルーかな。なんかそのマンゴーとかの入ったデザートがあるんですけど、中国に行ってみると、そもそもまず杏仁豆腐そこまでメジャーじゃないっていうのも大きいし、マンゴープリンはあります。でもマンゴーを使ったデザートが本当にいっぱいあって、そのさっき言ったヤンジーガンルーもそうだし、マンゴーのかき氷とかもあるし、マンゴーとその白玉団子と、あと小豆も乗ってたりとか、本当にいっぱいあるんですよ。で、例えば、牛乳プリンにトッピングマンゴーとか、生姜プリンにトッピングマンゴーとか、その牛乳プリンとか生姜プリンだとトッピングもマンゴーだけじゃなく白玉乗せたり、芋団子乗せたりとか、小豆乗せたりとか、亀ゼリー乗せたりとか、いろいろあったりで、亀ゼリーは亀の確かお腹の部分をこう削って、なんかそれをエキスかなんかにして食べる体にいいゼリーなんですけど、亀ゼリーもあるし、もうね、本当にいっぱいあるんですよ。で、中華デザートの良いところは体にいいんですよね。小豆とか、山芋とか、そのタロイモとかもそうだし、あれはなんて言うんだろう。ハスの実っていうんですかね。ハスの実使ってたりとか、いろんな緑い豆使ってたりとか、中華デザートって本当に体によくって、で、白砂糖使ってる場合も多分あるんですけど、結構その氷砂糖とか、黒糖とか体にいいお砂糖を使ってることも多いので、甘くて美味しいけど、素材の味を生かしてる場合が多くて、で、かつその漢方の観点から、皆さんこんにちは、すごいたくさんの方見てくださってる。その漢方の観点からも、すごい体にいい食材がいっぱい使われてるのが中華デザートなので、中国に関して恋しいものいっぱいある中でも、大好きだった中華デザートっていうのはすごく恋しいなと思います。で、実際帰ってきてから結構自分でも作ってみて、例えばそのリンゴとクコの実とナツメと黒糖を煮てみたりだとか、それを梨に変えてみたりだとか、ナツメにこうお湯注いでお茶にして飲んでみたりだとかっていうのもしたり、あと小豆も煮て、自分でその小豆となんか煮たやつ、白玉とかをこう一緒に食べる。小豆と白玉だと日本でもあるんですけど、なんかその、リンゴとクコの実とナツメを煮るとか、それを黒糖で煮るとかっていうのは、多分日本ではないんじゃないかな。なんかそういうのをこういろいろやってみたりとか、結構恋しかった中国の味をこっちでも食べようとしたりしていますと。で、あとはね、ナツメの間に何かが挟まってるっていうのがめちゃめちゃ美味しいんですよ。そのナツメって皆さんわかりますかね。これぐらいの、今日持ってきてないや、ナツメっていう赤い実があるんですけど、それの間にくるみが挟まってたりとか、お餅が挟まってたりとか、で、一番美味しいやつは、ごめんなさい、一番って言って二つあるんですけど、一つは、ナツメの間に切ったところに、くるみとレーズンと、あれなんだっけな、ブラックベリーかな、クワの実かな、が挟まってる、もう粉、その、ナツメパカンって切って、その間に、ドライフルーツとくるみをもうギュッて詰め込んだのがあって、それはウイグルで初めて出会ったんですけど、もう本当に美味しくってすっごい美味しくって、ウイグルでめっちゃ買ったけどすぐなくなって、 タオバオで探して買い足したんですけど、もうね、ギュッて詰まってるんです。その夏目自体がもうドライフルーツみたいなになってるのに、そこにさらにくるみを挟んで、レーズンも挟んで、ブラックカラントかなかなんかを挟んで、もうだからドライフルーツだらけなんですよ。で、そのレーズンの甘さとか、なんか夏目の甘さとか、あとくるみの食感とかがもう全部合わさってすっごい美味しいんです。なので、日本にはさすがにね、多分売ってないんですよ。見たことないんですけど、それはめちゃめちゃ恋しいなと思います。で、もう一個は、あそこはどこだ台上。台上って日本語でなんて言うんだろう。台州かな。車が1台、2台ありますの台に、九州の州で、台州っていうのが、十ジャンって日本語でなんて言うんだっけ、浙江省か。浙江省にあるんですね。浙江省の台州っていう場所。なので、十ジャンの台上には、私のすごく仲良しのお友達、中国のお友達がいたんですけど、彼女に会いに行った時に連れて行ってもらったお店で食べたのが、その夏目をパカンって半分に切って、そこにノーミーはお餅を挟むんですよ。こんな。夏目があって、その間にパカンって切って、ノーミーってお餅を挟んで、しかもそれを油で揚げて、で、しかもかつそれを砂糖まみれにするんですよ。もう、美味しいしかなくって、もうその夏目だけでも美味しい、まず。でも夏目に、かつその挟まれてるノーミーって甘いお餅は、それもさらに美味しいんですよ。で、そのセットでも美味しいのに、さらに油で揚げて、さらにそこにこうお砂糖を絡めるから、もう美味しいの極みで、すっごい美味しいんですよ。これ台上で初めて食べたのが2024年7月だったんですけど、もう帰国まで残り半年で、台上で初めて食べて、すっごい美味しくって、もう感動するぐらい美味しくって、で、広州に戻った後に探したんですね。でも、本当になくって、その、浙江省のあたりの料理屋さんをめっちゃ探して、ダージョンっていう、その日本でいう食べログみたいなアプリがあるんですけど、ダージョンでその名前を探したりとか、で、名前を探して出てきたお店に電話したりとかしても、本当になくって。で、やっと、あれどこだっけ風米かな湖北省料理屋さんかなんかでやっと見つけて食べました。で、めちゃめちゃ美味しかったです。やっぱり美味しかった。なので、もし皆さん、浙江省の台州ですかね、に行くことがあったら、ぜひ、夏目にお餅挟んだやつ。で、新タルアンって言うんですよ。心の太いの、ルアンは、柔らかいか。日本語で言うなんですね。軟式野球とかのなんですね。だから心が柔らかすぎる。だからまあ芯がその柔らかすぎるっていうことで、夏目の真ん中の芯だから脳みそのお餅の部分が柔らかくなってるみたいな感じだと思うんですけど、それがめちゃめちゃ美味しいので、ぜひ食べてください。はい、ありがとう。はい、thank you for watching. I'm just talking about、what I miss about China today. なので皆さんぜひ浙江省に行くことがあったら、台上に行くことがあったら、新タイルアン、心の太い、柔らかいって書いて新タイルアンをぜひ食べてください。めっちゃ美味しいです。で、多分湖北省料理屋さんでも広州で見つけたので、もしかしたら湖北省とかにもあるのかもしれないけど、ちょっと他の地域のお店で私は見たことがなかったので、でも、本座のミーとかでも出てきました。確か本座が夏目のミーがお餅ですね。なので、それを、ぜひ食べていただけたらなと思います。あれはね、本当に美味しい。すっごい美味しかったです。なので、ぜひ食べれたら皆さん食べてください。ということで、まず一つ目に一番美味しいのは中華デザート。で、二つ目ですね。What I miss the most about China.、the first one is Chinese dessert, and the second one is、spicy food, especially the one from Hunan. 湖南省料理ですね。私は辛いものが好きなんですけれども、といっても辛いものの中でも唐辛子が好きで、わさびは嫌いなんですよ。辛子も嫌いなんですけど、唐辛子の辛さが好きで、で、中国の中でも唐辛子使うお料理いっぱいあるんですけど、私は湖南省が一番大好きですと。一番湖南省の料理が美味しくって、特にシャオチャオローってもう多分ね、ライブとか動画の中でも何回も言ってる小さい炒める肉って書いているシャオチャオローが劇的に美味しいです。なので、もし皆さん湖南省に行くことがあったら、シャオチャオローっていう緑の唐辛子に、お肉を炒めて、なんならニンニクたっぷり炒めて、 カリッカリになってる。それがすごく美味しいので、ぜひ食べてくださいと質問いただきました。What time is it there? In China, you mean? China is 9:30 p.m. And if you're asking about Japan, it's 10:30 p.m. で、なので、辛いものですね。特に湖南料理は全部美味しい。何食べても美味しいです。なので、なんか日本だと、やっぱり四川料理とか、北京料理、あと上海、あとどこが有名なんだろう、広州とかも有名なのかな、ヤムチャとか、広東料理か、が有名だと思うんですけれども、で、少なくとも、湖南料理専門店みたいなのは、私の家の近くとかにはあんまりないんですけれども、湖南料理のお店はもっと欲しいなって思いますね。なので、もし皆さん、湖南料理のお店がもしお近くにあるのであれば、ぜひ行っていただきたいですし、湖南料理の特にシャオチャオローっていう炒めるのも美味しいけど、他にもね、いろんなものあるんですよ。レンコンのスープも美味しいし、なんかね、美味しいものだらけなんですよね。なので、ぜひぜひ食べていただけたらなと思います。で、湖南省も広いので、なんか以前お友達に連れて行っていただいたお店は湖南省の中でも川に近い地域だったので、川魚がいっぱい使われた、あと川のエビが使われた料理が多いお店もあって、それも美味しかったです。なので、ね、中国広いので地域によっても全然違うので、ぜひ皆さんいろんな地域のお料理を試しつつ、湖南省を見つけたらまずは食べてほしいです。で、湖南省料理の場合は、湖南料理って書いてないで、シャンツァイって書いてる時あるんですよ。シャンツァイのシャンは、山水に相性がいいの愛って書いて、あれシャンって言って、それ湖南省って意味なんですけど、にツァイは、ナッパの名ですね。草冠の名ですね。で、シャンツァイっていうのは、湖南料理になるので、よかったら皆さん食べていただけたらなと思います。コメントありがとうございます。7:34 a.m. で。じゃあ結構朝ですね。見てくださってありがとうございます。おはようございます。Good morning for you. で、なので中国について恋しいもの。一つ目が中国デザート。二つ目が中国の辛いもの。で、三つ目は迷ったんですけど、やっぱりワイマイで、ワイマイってデリバリーですね。デリバリーは恋しい。もう本当に恋しい。何を頼んでも30分以内に届くっていう仕組みは本当に便利だったなと思うし、もちろん中国はね、人がたくさんいるからこそできることでもあると思うので、必ずしもそれを世界中のね、他の国でできるわけではないけれども、晩ご飯作り始めて、ネギ買うの忘れたって思って、そこで頼んでも食べる頃にはネギが届いていたとか、明日の朝、子供幼稚園でこれがいるんだ、間に合わないって思っても、買ったら間に合うみたいな、あれは本当に便利だったなと思うし、今回ね、中国に年末旅行に行って広州にいたんですけれども、3泊4日でホテルに泊まって、その間にも欲しいものあったらもうバンバンネットで頼んでホテルに届けてもらえる。しかも全部ホテルに届けてもらえて、それも楽だなってやっぱり思いました。食べ物もデリバリーして食べたいものあったら果物とかホテルに届けてもらえたりもするし、疲れたって思ったらコーヒーも別に届けてもらえるし、なんなら日本に買って帰ろうと思ってチーパーを、チャイナドレスですね。日本で買うと高いので、チャイナドレス買おうと思って中国で買ってとか、子供たち用の中国系の服を買ったりだとか、靴も買ったかな。娘の靴も買ったし、夫がジャージの、スウェットのズボン忘れたので、それも買ってすぐ届いたりとか、本当に便利ですよね。あれはなかなか、多分他の国ではね、難しいと思うんですけれども、嬉しいなと思いました。ちょっとお茶飲みます。で、今日のお茶はこれですね。これ見せようと思ったんだ。チャリ。このチャリっていうブランド、これね、すごい美味しいんですよ。で、チャリのいいところは、お茶のブランドいっぱいあるし、もっと高級なね、ラインとかもいっぱいある中で、このチャリがいいのは、小分けなんですよ、基本的に。中国のお茶ってどれも美味しいんですけど、結構がっつり、何百グラムで缶に入ってるとか、袋に入ってるとかで、茶葉のままの多いものが結構多いんですけど、このチャリは、美味しいお茶が、ちゃんとこのティーバッグのスタイルになっていて、で、かつ、これもね、紫の、これなんて言うんだ、桑の実かな かなんかなんですけど、その果物を使ったね、お茶が美味しいんですよ、チャリは。ピーチウーロンとかも美味しいし、それこそ、夏目か。夏目とかのやつもすごい美味しいし、マスカットとかもあるし、あとこの前見たのだと、フォーショーは、仏の手か。仏の手を使った、お茶もあったりだとか、普通のもあるんですよ。普通の紅茶とか緑茶とかもあるんですけど、このチャリ、これ皆さんね、もし、多分中国にいる日本の方はみんな知ってるんじゃないのかな、このチャリ。すごい有名なので、これ美味しいんですけど、ぜひぜひね、中国に例えば旅行で行くっていう方は、スーパーとか行ったら結構売ってるので、ぜひこれ飲んでみていただけたらなと思います。めちゃめちゃ美味しいです。はい。ということで、中国に関してその恋しいものですね。さっき言った、デザートと、湖南料理と、ワイマイか、デリバリーですね。で、もう一個、自分で的にすごい恋しいなと思うのは、朝ごはん。中国ってもうそこら中で少なくとも、広州はそこら中で朝ごはんが売ってたんですよ。もう本当にマンションの下とかにも、あんまんとかそういう蒸したパンですね。蒸しパンっていうんですかね。あんまんだとか、黒糖蒸しパンとか、本当に真っ白い普通の蒸しパンだとかも売ってたし、シューマイだとか、小籠包とか、餃子とか、あとはその、ユーミージーって何て言うんだろう、コーンジュースかな。うちの息子が大好きなコーンジュースがあったんですよ。で、コーンジュースって何って多分日本の方はなるんですけど、簡単に言うと、甘い、コーンポタージュみたいな感じですね。トウモロコシを本当にジュースにしてるので甘いんですよ。で、あったかいんですよ。で、これはうちの息子が本当に大好きで、マンションの下にあったお店のがとにかく好きだったんですけど、それなくなっちゃって、で、残念ながら違うお店だとやっぱり味が全然違ったんですけど、この前、広州行って朝ごはん屋さんを探して、なんかいつもとその違うところ歩いてたら、偶然、前行ってたお店の方たちがやってる朝ごはん屋さんに出会って、場所が変わってて。で、それのおかげで、コーンジュース飲めて、息子はめちゃめちゃ感動してました。美味しい美味しいって飲んでました。なので、コーンジュースですね。甘くて本当に美味しいんですよ。で、私はあとは、豆乳ですね。中国の豆乳も恋しいなって思うし、デザートに戻っちゃうんですけど、なんか、豆乳デザートみたいなのがあって、甘くない豆乳に、それこそ小豆とか、白玉とか、長芋とか、タピオカとか、その豆乳にいっぱいなんかその健康的な食材を入れたっていうデザートもあって、湯葉とか入ってたりとか、それもめちゃめちゃ美味しいんですよ。もうね、なんかね、喋ってたら食べたくなってきた。本当に中国のデザート美味しくって、ああ、恋しいって思うんですけど、心の底から中国のデザート恋しいし、じゃあ自分で作ればいいのかもしれないんですけど、なんかいっぱい入ってるんですよ、中国のデザートってその具が。なんか、その紫、なんか芋団子とかも入ってるし、山芋とかも入ってるし、小豆も入ってるし、あれなんて言うんだろう。キクラゲか。キクラゲとかも入ってたりとか、で、マンゴー入ってたりとか、そのタピオカも入ってるし、シーミーってあれなんて言うんだろう、日本語で。シーミーってなんて言うんだろう。ちっちゃいタピオカみたいなのとか、いっぱい入ってて、それが美味しいんですけど、それを自分のためだけに、うち家族みんな食べないので、中国デザート。私だけなので食べるの。それを自分のために全部作るのかって思うと結構大変だなと思うので、中国デザート屋さんが近くにあったらいいのになって思います。なので、理想は、なんか休みの時に私は中華街に行きたいなと思ってて、横浜中華街とか神戸の中華街とかでそういうのが食べれたらいいなと思っております。なので、もし今日見てる方が、その横浜中華街とか、あとなんだっけ、神戸の中華街とかで美味しいお店知ってるとかだったら、ぜひ教えていただきたいです。あとあれですかね、池袋とかも多いんですよね、今多分。池袋はめちゃめちゃそのガチ中華が多い。ガチ中華っていうかなんかもう中国みたいなところだと聞いているので、そういうデザートが食べれるお店があったら、本当に食べたいなと思います。もう心の底から食べたいですね。なんかココナッツミルク使ったやつとかも本当に食べたいので、食べたいですね。ぜひぜひもし皆さん日本で食べれるお店を知ってたら教えていただきたいです。すっごい食べたい。恋しい。 ちょうどね、お友達がそれを投稿してるのを今日の朝見てしまったので、より食べたさが今募っているっていうのもあるんですけれども、あとなんだろうな、あとはなんか純粋に雰囲気ですよね。中国の街の雰囲気が私はやっぱり好きだったんだなと思って、街歩きしてるのすごい楽しかったし、なんかただただ歩いてるその日常がもうすごい幸せだったので、なんだろう、今がね、幸せじゃないとかじゃなく、なんか雰囲気がね、私は本当に好きだったんだなって改めて思います。なので、また街歩きしたいなっていう思いはありますね。そうですね。なので、また中国に行けるように、そして中国に行った時に、まだ中国語喋り続けられるように、中国語も頑張り続けなきゃなっていうのは思っております。で、最近は結構怠けてたりするんですけれども、全然勉強してなくって。なので、最近は単視じゃない、投資か、監視か。日本語で言う監視を結構やっていて、今日もさっき子供たちと一緒に練習しておりました。で、今年の目標は20個の投資、監視ですね、を覚えるっていうことなので、今それを頑張って覚えてます。最近覚えたのは、9月9日の上日、イーシャン、ドンションで、なんか9月9日に、こう、遠く離れた家族を思うっていう詩があって、ワンウェイって、ワンウェイさんは日本語でなんて言うんだ、王位っていうのかな、王に、繊維の意。繊維って服とかのね、繊維の意って書いてワンウェイって言うんですけど、上日、一上东兄弟唐王维待って。独在异乡为一个每逢佳节倍思亲。遥知兄弟登高处，便家诸于少一人っていう詩があって、9月9日がなんかその何かしらの昔の記念すべき日で、ワンウェイさんは家族から離れたところにいて、すごい遠くですね、その昔の時代なのに、そういうところにいて、で、なんだろう、その家族の兄弟たちが、なんか表彰されるのかな、なんかされる時に自分はそこにいないみたいな寂しさを歌った歌なんですけれども、今これを頑張って暗記中で、こんな感じで20個を今覚えていこうとしております。はい。で、そうですね。あと中国でその恋しいことというか、逆もあって、日本で良かったって思うことも今日あったんですよ。で、何かっていうと、スタバの値段が全然違う。これ言ったことあったかな？なんか価格について話した時もしかしたら話したかもしれないんですけど、中国スタバが劇的に高いんですよ。日本に比べてね。で、多分アメリカとかに比べたら安いのかもしれないんですけど、私がいた時で、アメリカンが1杯、30元。で、当時の為替だと約60円。今だと多分、60円じゃない、間違えた。当時の価格だと600円。今だと22円になったのかな。だから今だと多分660円とかになっちゃうのかなと思うんですけど、アメリカンが、本当にただのアメリカンが。で、カフェラテは35元とかだったので、700円。だから今もう750円とかになってるのかなって思うんですけど、スタバでホワイトモカ、バニラシロップ追加、アーモンドミルクに変更っていうのを飲んだんですけど、頼んだ時に、そんなにカスタマイズしたらもう恐ろしい金額になるだろうなって思ってた時に、550円ですって言われて、と思って。550円って、その中国にいた時だと、アメリカンすら買えない。アメリカン、ブラック、もう普通のブラックすら買えないので、なんか日本ってそうだ、スタバ安いんだったと思う、その中国に比べると安いんだったっていうのを思い出して、なんか、中国恋しい恋しいって思うけど、日本にもそういうなんかいいところはいっぱいあるなっていうのも思い出したし、なんならそのお刺身が安いとか、やっぱり日本の食材が安いとか、お味噌が安いとか、お醤油が安い、めんつゆが安いとかも、やっぱり日本にいることのいいことだし、あとはなんだろうな、そのお刺身の種類もスーパーとかでいろんなもの手に入るとかもあるし、日本には日本の良さがあって、その上で中国には中国の良さがあるっていうのに気づくことができたのも、確実にその中国に いたからなので、そういう意味ではなんか母国の良さにも改めて気づけたっていうのは、中国行ったことの良かったことかなって思っていたりします。ちなみに皆さんはいかがでしょうか？なんか中国行ったことある方なら中国の恋しいもそうだし、自分の国についての恋しいとか、または住んだことあるところの恋しいとかありますか？ Do you guys have anything like you miss about, your home country? Or I don't know, maybe you're in the home country now, but you miss about something that you had overseas. If you do, please do let me know in the comment. ね、なんか皆さんのそういうの聞きたいです。You're a good teacher, Akiko. Oh, thank you very much. Am I teaching? I'm just talking today. I'm not really a teacher material. I wish I can be a nice teacher though. I don't have the patience to be a teacher. But yeah, so if you have anything too, that you miss about your home or you miss about a specific country or place that you used to live, please do let me know in the comment. Yeah, anything else that I miss? So yeah, I said the Chinese dessert I do miss, and then the Chinese spicy food, especially the one from Hunan. And then the breakfast in China, I miss that so much. And the delivery, how you can get anything within like 30 minutes in China. The convenience of it, I do miss that. But what I don't miss is expensive Starbucks. One cup of coffee over there was like 30 RMB. In Japan, I think it's like maybe 20 RMB. It's much cheaper in Japan. So, I do. For Starbucks, I like it here. But if that's the case, I do miss tea in China, like the one that I'm drinking today too. But tea in China, it's so good. Yes, Japanese tea is good too, it's a completely different type of the tea. So I miss the Chinese tea. That's so good and that's easy to access. There are so many, like, just like Starbucks, there are so many shops that sells tea that you can just get a tea to go. And I miss that. I loved it. And especially the one with the fruit, like fresh fruit in it, like I really miss it. Like, the one with mango だって間違えた。いいのか、マンゴー。じゃあマンゴーは中国語だ。The one with mango. ダメだ。口が回らない。The one with mango. Mango. Yes. I miss those ones. 英語と中国語が混ざっちゃった。ね。Oh, and I'm actually studying different languages too. So that I can tell everyone how great China is in different languages. So I have my little note. This is my note about Korean. 안녕하세요. 저는 아키코입니다. 저는 일본 사람입니다. 만나서 반갑습니다. I hope that says that nice to meet you. Hey, I like Tim Hortons and Starbucks. Hey, I love Tim Hortons too. Did you live in Canada or where did you have Tim Hortons? Canada or maybe in China? I don't know. I love Tim Hortons. But the Tim Hortons in Canada and the Tim Hortons in China is different, So I used to live in Canada for 7 years. So Tim Horton is like, something that I can, I feel like really close to me. I used to drink double, the coffee with the like 2 cream, 2 sugar. Yeah, so I used to drink that all the time. I miss it. And I love the donuts from Tim Hortons. Like, I miss it so much. I'm in Canada. Oh, you're in Canada. Where in Canada? I used to live in Canada too. I used to live in Kelowna, British Columbia. I don't know where you are in Canada, but yes, so Tim Hortons, I miss it so much. The one in Canada, I miss so much. The donuts, Timbits, I love it. I have a Tim Hortons cup. Not that I got it in Canada, but you are in Winnipeg. Oh my God, you must be super cold then. How is the snow there? Winnipeg. Wow, welcome to my channel. How did you find me? I'm really curious how you found. Are you interested in China? Is that how you found me, or are you interested in Japan that you found me? I'm very curious because I don't think I talk about Canada much. So I don't think you found me because that I used to live in Canada, right? Yes, it's cold. Yeah, I can imagine. I wonder how cold it is. It's cold in Aichi and Tokyo and Osaka, like everywhere in Japan. Like for the past few days has been really cold, but I don't think it's as cold as Winnipeg. So, but I'm from Hokkaido, so but still, I think Winnipeg must be much colder. So, wow. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for finding my channel. So, yeah, Canada is like my second home. I lived there for 7 years. I went to university. So, I find you live randomly on Christmas Day. Oh, what a Christmas gift. Thank you very much. Maybe it was a gift from Santa. Thank you. So, yeah. So, yeah, I used to live in Canada, British Columbia, Kelowna. And I went there for university. I went to a college called Okanagan University College. Now the name has changed, so it's called Okanagan College. And I took business administration. And then after I finished my degree, I worked at a hotel in Canada, in Kelowna. I worked at the Ramada Hotel for 4 years at the front desk. So Canada is my home, like my second home. Japan is my home, and Canada is my second home. And yes, I love Canada. I love China too, but Canada is like really home for me. I have so many friends, and yeah, I have many friends that I care about. I miss them, and I wish that I can go back. Like, if I can live in another country, you know, Canada would definitely be one of my choice. I really love the people there. Canadian people were super nice. Like everybody was so nice. And since the first time I went to Canada, which I was only 15, it was a 1 week trip, and that really changed my life. Everybody in Canada was so nice. They treated me so good. I went to Canada again when I was in high school for 2 months, no, 3 months, and everything. Like the school that I went to, the people that I met, all the friends that I made, host family, everybody treated me so good. Everything was great. Everything was amazing. I just loved everything about Canada. And yeah, and that's how I ended up going to university in Canada, and the rest is history. So yeah, so wow, great. I didn't know you're from Winnipeg, so thank you for finding me. And I guess yeah, makes sense that you're like 7 o'clock there, almost 8, right? So nice. I'm really happy. I don't know what happened around that Christmas time. I was getting many people from like all over the world. I don't know what happened. I had people from Brazil. I had someone from France. I had someone from Korea. I had someone, I think he was from Spain. And then we had one from the US. And I forgot, we had someone from, was it Vietnam? I think Vietnam too. So around that, Christmas time, my channel was going all over the place, in everyone's, I guess, recommendation. Nice people in Canada. Yes, I agree. I agree very much. You guys are super nice. You guys are super, super, super nice people. Yes, so Canada. Then let's talk about what I miss about Canada. I miss Tim Hortons. That's definitely one. I miss my friends. I have quite many. I have friends in Courtney, BC. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about that place. Courtney, BC is on the Victoria Island, Vancouver Island. Victoria Island, Vancouver Island. And it's a small city, but I lived there for 3 months when I was in high school. And that's definitely one of the reasons that I moved back to Canada, because I really, really loved it. Do you miss the cold here? No, I do not. Thank you for asking though. I'm from Hokkaido, which is a northern part of Japan. So it's really cold. I had snow all over my life, since I was, as long as I remember, until I was 18. Then I moved to Canada, Kelowna, British Columbia, which is also covered in snow during the winter. Not just winter, like from November to maybe March, we are covered in snow. Then I moved to Arizona, which you would think that, it's nice and hot. But I actually got a job in Grand Canyon, which is also covered in snow during the winter time. So we had snow in winter time. Then let's see. Then I moved to Michigan, which is also covered in snow, and also Chicago. I spent 1 year in Grand Canyon, 1 year in Michigan, and 1 year in Chicago. Maybe 2 years in Michigan. Yeah. So since I was, born Hokkaido, Canada, Grand Canyon, Michigan, and Chicago. So I have lived in cold places all my life. That no, I do not miss it anymore. Will you travel everywhere? Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not really like traveling though, because it was more like a life. So it's not like I was just traveling around the world. I kind of want to do that, but haven't done it. So yeah, I lived in Canada for 7 years. In British Columbia the whole time. Then yeah, Arizona for 1 year. Michigan, Chicago, then back to Michigan, then Japan, then China. So yeah, so really like China, like Guangzhou was the only place like that's really hot throughout the year. Guangzhou gets cold too, but not like Canada cold or Hokkaido cold. So yeah, so Guangzhou is like the first place. How you afford to move around? Well, I think you are when you hear someone say like oh, I lived in Canada, US, you're moving around all the thing, you kind of expect me having such a nice luxurious life, but it's not like that. um I was working like when I was in Grand Canyon, I was making $10 an hour, so nothing, nothing luxurious about it. I was a student in Canada. Then, I started working. I saved my money, but I was working at the hotel. So it's not like I'm making like a millions of dollars. It's just like, living not maybe paycheck to paycheck. I try to save some money, but it's not like rich parents. No, 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 but I don't want to say like, I don't want to disgrace my family, so I don't want to say I'm not from but no, I'm not from a rich family. In Japanese standard, like if we compare to a country that's less fortunate, maybe yes, but I don't want to say like I don't want to disgrace my family, so I don't want to say like we are not rich or we are poor or anything like that. But I'm not from like a rich family. My dad, my mom, they have to work really hard to help me to go to Canada. And when I was in Canada, I worked at the dorm. I lived in the dormitory, and they have like a staff that you can work and you get half the rent off. And during the summertime and summer and wait, when was that? Like during the summer break, if you work full time, then you don't have to pay the rent. So, I got to save up the rent. And I was also doing a part time job because I had, what was the name of the visa? I think it's called like co-op visa that, even the foreign students can work part time in Canada. So I was making some money too. Middle class. Yeah, you can say that. Yes. So yes, middle class. Yeah, so anyway, so yeah, and after I finished university, I was living on my own. I don't count on my parents anymore, so I was just living just like a normal person. And then when my visa in Canada expired, I wasn't ready to go back to Japan, so I moved to the US. I looked for a job. Like I had no job for 3 months. Looked for a job, and then finally found a job which was $10 an hour. So it's not like I'm making lots of money, but they had the dormitory for the staff who works at the hotel. So, I didn't have to pay for the rent. No, I paid. I think I paid like $100 a month. Still, it's really cheap, right? So I was making $10 an hour, but it's in Grand Canyon where there's uh no place to spend money. It's just you see Grand Canyon, you have your hotel that you work at, and there's a dormitory that you live in. There's only like two, three shops, two maybe. And then there's like McDonald's, one coffee shop, and the restaurant, and that's it. Like, if you live in Grand Canyon, you have no place to spend money. So even $10 an hour would you can keep on going. So I used to go to the canyon like once in a week and hike around the Grand Canyon. So I did that. Good deal. $100 for rent. Yes, it is. So that's also because in Grand Canyon, they only have like 500 to 1,000 people who live there, and everyone who live there is everyone who work there or the family of the workers. So you know the hotels actually have to provide an apartment or dormitory so that it's cheap rent because it's all for the employees. Maybe if you order online to spend money. Well, you're not talking about this Amazon, generation. Back then we didn't have, maybe we did have Amazon, but it wasn't like that. No, yeah, no place to spend money. No, no, no. It's true though. Really, like you have to live in Grand Canyon to know it. Like we had we had one convenience store that's next to the gas store. So if you have ever been to the US, you know that convenience store next to the gas stop really has nothing like you want, right? Then we had one like a grocery store slash everything type of the store. It's not anything big, but if you need to buy a shirt, it doesn't, it's not like a nice shirt, but if you need a shirt you can still buy it there, or a hat you can buy, but you don't have a choice to choose from. And if you want to choose from, then you need to choose from the Grand Canyon souvenir, Grand Canyon hat, Grand Canyon t-shirt, Grand Canyon hoodie, Grand Canyon, I don't know, cup. Yes, you can choose from, but those are super expensive because it's all for the tourists, right? So yeah, so really, like, we didn't have any place to spend money, really. And yeah, we had McDonald's, which closed at 10 p.m., or maybe 11. I know, I think it was 10. I forgot. But yeah, everything closes by 10 o'clock. And it's super dark, pure darkness, because there's no light, but you can see the stars. And so, yeah, you really don't have to spend money if you live in Grand Canyon. So even if you're only making $10 an hour, you get food at the restaurant at the hotel too. If you work in the morning, you get breakfast. If you work at lunch, you get lunch. If you work at night, you get dinner. And if you work all from morning to night, then you get to eat 3 times a day at the hotel. So you don't have to spend money. Thank you for the comments. You like like 7-Eleven store. Yes, that's the one, like 7-Eleven, it's not somewhere that you want to spend money, right? I have never been to Grand Canyon, but been to Niagara Falls. Yes, something similar. So you see Niagara Falls, right? But you don't see anything else, you know? There are Niagara Falls, then there's souvenir stores where you can buy magnet that says Niagara Falls. You can buy hoodie that says Niagara Falls, but it's not somewhere that you want to go shopping. You know what I mean? Yeah. How many shifts you worked? It depends. When I started, it was 5 days a week. I think 8 hours a day. So it's just So I had 2 days off. Then I think like 6 months into it, I wanted to work more, so they offered me a position at the restaurant as well. So I would do like 7 to 11, so maybe like 4 hours in the morning at the restaurant. Then I'll do like 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock, 8 hours. So how many hours is that? 4 hours and 8 hours. 12 hours. Oh wow! I was working quite many hours. 本当? でもそう, yeah. Because the breakfast starts at I think 7 or 6:30. And then I will work till the breakfast ends, which is I think at 10:30 or 11. So that'll be like 4 hours. And then the front desk is I think 8 hours, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So 8 hours, right? So yeah, I guess 12 hours a day. Maybe not 5 days a week, 12 hours. Maybe like 12 hours, 12 hours, 8. I forgot. But I had nothing else to do, right? So it was okay. So yeah, I was working quite many hours. Then go to the Grand Canyon, hike down, hike around. Sometimes go to the different city. Yeah, so very healthy, I guess, in a way. And Grand Canyon, yeah, I never imagined me living in Grand Canyon, so it was a good experience. Wow, very hard worker, I guess, but I guess I was used to it. Even when I was working at the hotel in Canada, at one point I was doing 40 hours a week at the hotel, and then how many hours? Like 20 hours at the restaurant that I was also working at. So it was like 60 hours a week. So back then, I was much younger too. So 60 hours a week was like a normal for me back then. I don't think I want to do that anymore. I'm much older now, so that's going to be too hard on my body. But, yeah, so that's what I used to do. It was a good experience working at the Grand Canyon, hotel in Grand Canyon because we get to have every customer from like every single country you can think of. We have customers, from, right? So sometimes we had Japanese customers too. You know, it's usually they come on the big bus. They usually come from either Las Vegas or Los Angeles. They have a whole like 1 week tour and they come to Grand Canyon, stay for one night. They see the sunset. In the morning, they see the sunrise. And then they go back to Vegas or, LA. So that's what they used to do. Okay, good comment. I heard Japanese girls are the most hardworking people in Asia. I don't know. Really? Do you think so? I don't know. Japanese moms are probably one of the most hardworking people who is under a lot of pressure, I think. But I don't know if Japanese girls are the most hardworking people in Asia. I don't know, but it's not like I've worked in different countries, so maybe. I think Japanese moms have so much on their plate compared to, moms. I respect moms in every countries, parents in every countries, you know. I respect everyone. But Japanese moms have this pressure from the society, from the society saying like, moms have to do everything. Still, up to this day, it's 2025, 2026, and still we have that type of the standard. So I think we need to change that. I lived in China for 2 years, two and a half, and I saw many moms who hire babysitters, who ask help from the grandpa, grandma. And I'm like, that's how it's supposed to be. Raising a child should not be just a mom task. The kids should be raised by many people, not just mom, but dad and grandpa, grandma, babysitters, teachers, everyone from the community, right? So I think that's something we need to change about Japan. And thank you for another comment. I saw people sleeping in rows and train in documentary. Yes, we do have that in Japan. And I I don't know how other countries don't have it, right? I don't know why though. Maybe Japanese people are too tired because there are people sleeping on the train. That's a common thing that we see all the time. On the roads, not so much, I think. Only in certain areas where there are lots of like bars and people drink till they pass out. But yeah, because I know that when I was in Canada, I was a university student, so I would go out clubbing too and to the bars. But I didn't see as many people sleeping on the road, so I don't know what's the difference. Because people are getting drunk, whether in the US or in Canada or in Japan. Maybe, I don't know. If anybody know, whoever is watching today, if you have lived in Japan, if you have the answer why Japanese people are sleeping on the train or on the street, please do let me know because, I lived in Canada and like I said, I was in college. So every weekend we went out to the bar and to the club and, we get drunk and everybody passes out once we come home. But I don't know. I don't know why we didn't have people passing out on the street in Canada. What's the difference? I don't know. Isn't it because Japan is quite safe? Maybe. That's a good point though. Yes, so I think that could be one of the reasons Japan is probably, I'm not saying like Canada or the US is like the crazy dangerous, but considering that, Japan it's supposed to be a safe country, so maybe that's one reason. Another comment, thank you. They said no pay of overtime when boss asked to work more. Okay, so not about the drinking thing, but yes and no. It used to be like that. It's changing. So there is overtime pay. We do have a law for that. So it's illegal to let your workers work overtime without paying. But there are certain companies who might do it. So yes. But the generation is changing. The younger generation, they say no and they will go home and, they will get paid for the overtime. So the generation is changing and, situation in Japan is changing slow by slow. So yeah, but I guess you are watching lots of documentary about Japan. So maybe you're interested in Japan. Maybe that's why that my channel, reached up to your recommendation. Oishi. So this tea, if you ever go to China, Chari, this brand I recommend. I should have bought more. This is like the last two that I have left. I really love it. And it's easy to drink. That's the thing. I like this tea bag type. Yes, I'm assuming that the comment yes is about how you are watching like lots of documentaries about Japan. So I kind of want to watch that, like, seeing it from outside of Japan, the documentary that was made outside of Japan, but it's filming Japan, maybe it might be different because, I lived in China for 2.5 years. And before I went to China, I had specific image about China, because I see it on the media. But once I moved to China and lived there for 2 years, and I see China through my eyes, it's not always the same as what I used to see on the media. So, I'm not saying that the media is lying, but they're choosing one part of China or maybe one part of Japan that they want to show people. They want people to see, right? So sometimes it may not be the whole thing. So I don't know in the US or in Canada, you're in Canada, right? I don't know if you guys ever see any of those videos, but in Japan, if you're watching TV, quite often they find some like, funny videos, family funny videos, from China or something. And it usually is not good. But then is it a lie? It's not a lie because it is something that actually happened. But it could be just from the big, big, big China, they're picking up one small part of it. So yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that what you see on the media could be true but may not be the whole truth about it. So I kind of want to see how other countries are seeing Japan and how different it could be. So but what you see is true though. People sleeping on the street, people sleeping on the train, and some people are working overtime without overtime pay, but that's slowly changing. So what else is changing about Japan? But one thing I remember is that when I went to Canada, I thought that Canadian people are more relaxed and like laid back, and you guys are more like taking it easy compared to Japan. Japanese people are working hard, hard, hard all the time, working overtime. Everyone's like go, go, go. And then Canadian people are more relaxed and laid back and chill. But when I was working at the hotel, I had the guest. He was from Jamaica, I think. And he's like, he told me he came to the front desk. He needed something. And then he's like, hey, I came to Canada and everyone's like moving so fast. Everyone's so stressed out and everyone's blah 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 blah, and I'm like, whoa, really? Because from my point of view, like Japanese person's point of view, Canadian people are like relaxed and chill and laid back, and they are not like go go go. But from someone who's from a country that is even more laid back, they will feel like, wow, Canadian people are moving so fast. So I think seeing things from different perspective and sharing the idea can help us understand each other. And thank you for another comment. I also have seen quite a lot of foreign tourists shoot the movie in Japan, some drunken people sleeping on the street. Yes. And I think that nowadays, we have TikTok and, like YouTube, I'm doing YouTube right now too, right? So we have YouTube and, we have TikTok and, we have Instagram, and people are, posting everything online, that it's easy to actually see that. And, people, I guess more people know that Japanese people actually do sleep on the street, and people can actually film it and post it. So, I guess more people know that. So I don't live in an area where there are lots of bars, so I don't see those people too often. But so yeah, I rarely see them. I usually see them on TV too. So maybe I'm just like I'm just seeing it on the TV, but I rarely see it on the street. Maybe if you live in Tokyo, especially like I don't know, central Tokyo, maybe Shibuya, Harajuku, どこだろう、六本木? I don't know. Where do people... 池袋じゃないな。新宿どこだ、赤羽とかよく聞く。I don't know. But yeah, so maybe people are sleeping, and it's Friday night, so maybe right now people are sleeping too. So, but I hope that they stay safe. It's really cold outside. And thank you for another comment. How's China work life, fast or slow like Canada? I wouldn't say it's slow like Canada. Work, but no. でもどうだろうな。I think it kind of depends, because in China there is this new like a slang. It says 996, which means work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. So like you only have one day off. And then they also have this new slang that's 007. So you work from midnight till midnight 7 days a week, meaning you work overtime all the time, you have no time off. So 5 days a week, 8 hours, that's the normal. Yes, for China too, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. But it really depends on the company. Like I heard that if you work in like an IT industry, you have to work overtime a lot. Like so 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Like 6 days a week, or you really have no time off. And because I don't know how much of a joke it is, but my friends always say that in China we have so many people, so that if you don't want to work, they can replace you right away, so that even you don't want to work overtime, you have to work overtime. So I don't know how much of that was a joke and how much of that is it true. So if any of you are watching today from China, please do let us know if that's true or not. But it's work-wise, I don't think it's as laid back as Canada, but compared to Japan, I think people's mindset are a little more, I don't know if I would call it laid back, but not as stressed as it is in Japan. What's our rate? What's hourly rate? It really depends. Like in China, there's a huge gap between low wage and really good wage. But I heard that a university graduates would make let me calculate. 待ってね。3000元 ?3000 元 ?5000 元だと10万。3000元。3000円。6万円だから。I have no idea the exchange rate right now, but maybe around $500 a month. is the university graduates, like lowest level salary, I think. So about 500, 450, 450 to $500 US dollars a month for someone just graduated from university. And then if you are in a bigger city like Shanghai, one of my friends told me that her friend's son got a job and he's making 20万円だから20万円っていくらだ $1,500 US dollars, maybe not even $1,200 US dollars a month. So compared to US or even compared to Japan, the lowest or minimum wage is not that high. But the people who work in nicer company, bigger company, they are making a crazy amount of money. So in China, it really is, how much education you have, and whether you're in a good company or not. So there's a huge gap. I don't know how it is in China right now though, because when I was in China back then, and I was working at the front desk, I was making $15 an hour, and I have no idea what's the hourly wage right now in Canada. But I know that the price of everything is going up, so I'm assuming that it must be higher. What's the hourly rate there? I don't know. Yeah, so I think when I started working at the front desk, I was around $10 an hour in Canada. Then it went up to like 15, once I got the promotion. And then in the US, I was $10 an hour, which I know that was quite low. But, it's, I was in Grand Canyon. So thank you for another question. Is it hard to get the job? You mean in China? If you're asking about China, yes, it's extremely hard. They have so many people, and they have more and more educated people, more people, graduating from universities, and more people are going into master's degree and doctors. They taking doctors because that they can't find a job when they finish the degree, bachelor's degree. So more students are going to take masters. So they have so many students who have masters, who have doctors, who has bachelors, and they can't even find a job. So they said it's like really crazy hard to get a job. And yeah, so it's not easy. With AI, it will be harder to get a job. I think so. Yeah. Well, there are certain jobs that cannot be, or at least not for now, that, they still have some time. Like, like I was saying that, I missed the delivery in China. And delivery in China, for now, you need the people. They already have a drone, flying around and delivering everything, but it's not going to take over the whole thing for now. How do people survive without a job? I have no idea. I know that China, or at least that I heard that China, the government, support the people so that people can live at least at the minimum standard. Everyone's at the minimum standard where they get the food, they have the transportation. So transportation is quite cheap in China. Like if you are hopping on the subway or the bus, you only pay like いくらだろう 20 cents? A little bit more? 違うか20円じゃないかいくらだ Bus? Yeah, bus, it's like maybe 20 cents or 30 cents, And the subway, I think subway is around the same too, like 40, 50 cents maybe. And even the cab is quite cheaper. You ride for like 8 minutes and you pay maybe $2. So, government is helping people. But I don't know how people do survive without a job. Very cheap, right? Yes, it is. Really cheap. So even like, kind of like a Japanese bullet train. They have those high speed train in China as well. And those ones are super cheap compared to Japan as well. So the transportation is really cheap. And the food is cheap. But not everything is cheap. Cheap, some stuff, the necessities are cheap. But like I said, the coffee is expensive because it's nothing that you have to. You must have in your life. Some people say they need to, but coffee is a nice to have thing, right? So those things are super expensive. One cup of coffee is like, $5 maybe, 5 or 4, I don't know. But yeah, so even more expensive in Japan. So, and what else? Like education for kids. If you just need to send kids to the public school, that's okay. But if you want to send kids to like international school, it's like insanely crazy expensive. And like taking English lessons expensive. Yes, it is expensive. Like I was talking to a tour guide in Beijing, and he has a son who's taking piano lesson. The son is like 10 or 12 years old, and the 1 hour piano lesson is like $70. I don't know, maybe in the US it's normal, I don't know, but yeah, from Japanese people's point of view, 1 hour lesson, $70, that's like insanely expensive, because that's how much people usually pay for 1 month of the lesson, piano lesson. So in China, if you want something extra that is only a nice to have but not must to have, it's really expensive because it's only for the rich people. It's only for the people who can afford. But if you just need the minimum food or transportation, then everything is cheap. So I think there's a huge difference there. Like, what else? Like a book is also cheaper compared to Japan. でもそんなに安くないか. So this book, is 56 RMB, 1000円。いくらぐらい ?700 円 ?7 ドルぐらい。Maybe $7 for one, paperback, which I think is much cheaper than getting a paperback in US or maybe Canada. Because if in Japan we want to buy a book like this, I think it will be a little more than $7, So book, and this is the actual, regular price if you buy at the store. But usually in China, if you want to buy books online, it's much cheaper. So you can get it for like half the price. So usually books are much cheaper. So yeah, how cheap is the noodles pack? Depends. I don't remember buying noodles pack. I only buy the Shin Ramen. Shin Ramen. And that one is, because it's imported, from Korea, right? So it's not like super cheap. I don't, でもそんな安かったかな? Maybe like $1 for, like, if you're talking about those one, the one in the cup, like this. あれいくらだろう? Maybe like $1, $2, so it's not, what? $14.99 for a normal book here. Okay, yeah, makes sense, yeah. Okay, I thought you were talking about the noodle. And I'm like, $14.99 for a noodle would be just insanely crazy. But glad to know that, it's not. So yeah. $14.99 for a normal book. Yeah, I would say it's like the same. Let's see. This book that I bought, it's 70. もうちょっと高いね. I bought at the bookstore, so it's cheap. I bought the second hand, so it's cheaper. But yeah, original price 1,700 yen. So US ドラでいくらだ? 1,700 円. So maybe like $12 maybe? Yeah, so. Oh, but I did buy a super expensive book in Japan. This. Guess how much? It's about learning Cantonese. Learning Cantonese in 4 weeks. This is super expensive. It's 4,800 yen. So about $40, a little bit more than 40, 42 maybe. So, and it's not like a big book, so this is pretty expensive. May 5 cent for one noodle there. Maybe 5 cent for one noodle. 5 cent? No. Wait, 5 cent? 5 cent? No. You mean like a noodle bowl that you get at the restaurant? You wouldn't get it for 5 cent. Definitely not. The cheapest I have eaten maybe like 12元ぐらい、15元ぐらいか。3ドル。3ドルぐらいか。Maybe like $3. If you get at the like a restaurant, maybe not like a restaurant, like a local pop and mom type of the shop, really local, small, only like 5, seat. Those places maybe you can get for $2. The one you can cook. Oh, okay, the one you can cook at home. そんな安いのあるかな ?5 cent a pack? I don't think I've seen anything for 5 cent. 5 cent? Yeah, no, I don't think so. China is not that cheap. It's cheap, but it's not that cheap. 5 cent? Yeah, no, not that cheap. I don't think I've seen anything like that. Maybe if you look for it, I don't know. With water? Yeah. I know which one you're talking about. I used to buy, when I was a college student in Canada, I used to buy this one. It's like 20 cents a pack. And like, so $4. And it's like a chicken. It's not chicken noodle soup. It's a instant noodle, but chicken flavor. Which now that I think about it, it didn't really taste like chicken, but it was cheap. So I used to buy it all the time, and I used to cook it all the time. So yeah, that was I think 20 cents. Yeah, maybe like because 5 for $1. So when I was in Canada, I was buying that, but no. And in Philippines, I saw 10 peso. I don't know 10 peso is how much money. Sorry, I've never been to Philippines, so I don't know how 10 pesos gonna be, converted into Japanese yen or Chinese yuan or US dollar. But I don't know. Maybe there is. I just don't know about it. 5 cents for one noodle, one pack of noodle. I've never seen that cheap. So, but maybe we do, or maybe we do in China. So, yes. So yeah. So it really depends on what you buy in China. Some stuff were really cheap. Some stuff were like really crazy expensive. It's like 7 cent Canadian. Yeah, 7 cent Canadian. I don't think you can buy anything in China. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Not that cheap. US dollar. Yeah, no, it's not that cheap. Canada is not Canada. China is cheaper, but not that cheap. But interesting, I never expected I'll be talking about, the prices today and comparing to Canada. So that's pretty interesting. And what else I wanted to talk today? Let me remember. Oh, and I'm actually learning Russian too. We don't have so no cheap food in China. It is cheap, but not that cheap. I'm pretty sure it's much cheaper than Canada because I keep hearing that prices in Canada is going like crazy. So it's cheap. You can find cheap stuff too, like one piece of bread for like 5 RMB. Maybe like 70 cents. 50 60 70 cents for like one piece of bread, or one bowl of soup at the small shop. The cheapest you can find would be like maybe $2-3. It's still cheap and it still tastes good. And if you buy like a tropical fruit, that's really cheap in China. Nothing like you get. And yes, I lived in Guangzhou. So I lived in Guangzhou where there are so many tropical fruits. Maybe that's why it was cheaper. If you lived in Beijing or Dalian, it may not be that cheap. So it depends. But yes, there are cheaper food in China, but not as cheap as some people would think. Because when I first went to China, I thought the things were much more expensive than I expected it to be. I expected China to be much more cheaper. I expected it to be, like wow type the cheap. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's not. It's cheap enough to say it's cheap, but it's not as cheap as I thought. So, but yeah. So, have you been to China? Have you guys been to China? If not, then I do recommend you going there and seeing yourself because it's much more developed and they have so much technology going on that I came back to Japan and I felt like wow, like Japan's quite behind on a lot of things. So you haven't yet, then please do. It's a beautiful country. I don't know what kind of stuff you're into, but they have everything. China has the food, they have the history, they have the nature, culture. It's like a whole country full of all the fun stuff. So I do recommend, really beautiful country. People are super nice. That's the best part of China. Everyone's really nice. So I like that. And food, if you're going for the food, please do come to Guangzhou. Guangzhou has the best food. They really do. I went so many places in China. Guangzhou has the best place, like best food ever. I know China is big with robot. Yes, they are. Like, they are. Like, I don't know. In Canada and the US, you guys have too. But, if you stay at the hotel, usually the robot will bring everything to your room. If we buy something and, they leave at the front desk, the robot will bring the stuff to our room. And, they'll once they arrive, the robot will hop on the elevator on its own. They will get off the elevator. They'll come to the room and they will ring a bell. And when we pick up the stuff, then they'll just go back. And they're a cleaning robot. And I do see on like TikTok these days, like robots in China is like flipping now, right? Dancing and flipping and walking around, and it's pretty crazy. So yes, they are robot and a drone, and AI is I think I don't know, maybe in Canada too. I don't know. Like compared to Japan, China's way advanced. But I don't know how it is in Canada. I don't know how it is in US. So maybe it's about the same. I don't know, but it's pretty amazing. I took a bus that was self automated driving. Is that how you call it? And it was pretty neat to see that. So they got the technology, and they have the food, they have the people and the nature, and and the culture too, because they have 56 tribes. 少数民族. So it's like so many people. So many people from different background, and it's really interesting to see that. So I would recommend, if you haven't been to China, I do recommend you going there, seeing for your own. I think you will enjoy it. And Beijing has so many like historical places. I took my mom and she loved it. And Shanghai is more international. Shanghai is pretty international. There are many foreigners, and you see the buildings that was built like a few hundred years ago. They have the like European like influence in it, so that's interesting to see. But I want you guys to go to more like a smaller places, smaller cities, because that's when you see like more like local people, and local food. But it may not be as easy because, people there would not speak English. But with the technology, with the translation app, it's not as hard as it used to be to travel to those smaller cities. So, if you ever go to China, please do visit the local place, like local store, local street, local grocery store. Those places are so much fun. So I hope that you get to enjoy that. Okay, so anyway, it's 11:40 p.m. now, and yeah, I was thinking like oh, maybe I'll do like 10-20 minutes of YouTube live today, but we got keep on going. It was really fun, and thank you for the comment. Like Tibet countryside. Yes, I went to Tibet. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. I went to Lhasa, and I also went to the Mount Everest base camp. Not an easy trip. It is definitely probably the most challenging trip we have ever done. And we've been to quite many places, but Tibet, because it's the high altitude, right? Lhasa is I think about 3,500 meter, and then the Mount Everest, the base camp is 5,200 base camp. So it was really hard, but the nature is just absolutely amazing. Beautiful people and the dances. I've never seen Tibetan dances. Do they dance? Yes, beautiful people definitely. And Tibet people believe in Buddhism, and they have so many like Buddhist temples, like a Tibetan Buddhist temple. I don't know how you call it, but and I live in Japan where there are many Buddhist temples, but the difference is Japanese temples are more not colorful, like black and brown and maybe white, but the Tibet Buddhist temples are like bright, like gold and like really lots. They use so many colors, like pink and blue and orange and yellow and red, and they have so many colors. So it's like really bright and shiny. So completely different. Even just people think like, oh, it's the Buddhist, it's the temple, but completely different, like completely different thing. So it's really interesting to see that. They have traditional clothes. Yes, they do. Yes, really beautiful clothes. So yeah, Tibet was really interesting. The food was different, and the culture was different, and because they believe in like they believe that everything has like a soul, everything, like like a sky and the land and the animals and like trees and everything, they believe in that, so that they take care of the nature. So like sky is pure blue, like beautiful blue, like super blue, like so clean, and the air is clean, and it's really beautiful. So you have to be careful because the altitude is really high. Like, even Lhasa at the lowest is like 3,500. And if you want to get to the, base camp of Mount Everest, it's going to keep going up to 4,000, 5,000. So you have to take a medicine. You have to take it slow, but it's so worth it. And thank you for another comment. I saw documentary people living on mountains, climbing down for 1 hour to go to school or town. You watch lots of documentary. I want to see what kind of documentary you watch. But yes, and I haven't talked to those people, but I can imagine because most of the places that we went, you know, they have like small town, and then but that's like at the 4,200 meter, and to go to the different city you have to go so far. So our trip was like 6 days long, I think. Like, we took 12 out, no, not 12, 22 hours on the train to go from 2,000 meter to 3,500 meter. And then we took a car to the different city for like 6 hours drive, stay there, and another 5 hours drive, stay there. So it's like, each city is so far apart. And yeah, so I can kind of imagine that people will walk like 1 hour to go to the school. It really makes sense. So yeah, so the Tibet, yes, Tibet was a good experience, completely different experience. That was the last trip we did in China. We went to went to Beijing, Chengdu, Shanghai, Hunan, Zhejiang, I don't know how to say that in English, and Guilin, Chongqing, so many places. I don't know how to say in English. We went so many places, like Inner Mongolia we went, Uyghur we went, Tibet was the last place we went, and it was a great trip that we took. It's definitely one of the really good memory. It wasn't easy. My husband got altitude sickness, so it wasn't easy, but it was a good memory. So if you want to go, I do recommend, but you have to be very careful. Brave trip to do, to climb ladder for hours. Yes, I think so. Well, we didn't climb the ladder, but I can imagine that people have to go so many places. So yeah, so Tibet is a great place. Uyghur is another great place to visit if you like to see different cultures. Inner Mongolia was also interesting, but it's more of the nature that we were really happy to see, in Inner Mongolia. Really like pure grass field all the way to, you can't see the end of it. And you can ride horses, and my daughter ride horses like 3 times. She loved it. So it's really good, So yeah, so China has so much to offer that so many people don't know. And I hope that people see the beauty of it, not just the negative side of it, it's a beautiful country. And I think more you go to China, more you see how beautiful it is, how nice it is, how people are super nice. So I hope that everyone gets to go. Is Mongolia in China? Good question. They have Mongolia and Inner Mongolia. So it's kind of like northern, maybe Inner Mongolia is the Chinese name for it. Like Mongolia, then underneath the Mongolia, there's a part of China that is Mongolia. Used to be Mongolia, so it's called Inner Mongolia. Yes, and that's part of China. But not that many Mongolian people live there. But you will see Mongolian writing. Like, they have Chinese writing and Mongolian writing always next to each other. And if you stay at like a Holiday Inn Express, then you also see English names. So it's like Holiday Inn Express and in Chinese and in Mongolian. So you'll see like 3 languages together. Even like KFC, Kentucky. So it's like in Chinese. Then you also see like Mongolian, which I have no idea how to read it. So yeah. So Mongolia itself is a country that's on north side of China. Then underneath Mongolia, there's a part called Inner Mongolia, which is inside the China. So it's part of China. So yes, so good question, because I didn't know that until I came to China either. And I did look through the history and everything. So yes, so it's part of China now. What else? So Inner Mongolia, it was good. It's too big though. I think Inner Mongolia itself is like 3 times bigger than Japan. 3 times, 5 times. I think it's 3 times bigger than Japan. So So it was just too big that we went for 1 week and it was not enough. We only went to like 3 cities, because each city, in between each city, it's so far away that you can't go to so many places. Even we spend 1 week. So yeah, but great place to go. Very interesting. Yes, isn't it? It is really interesting. And living in China, I have learned so much about the history. Not just Chinese history, but it made me look into history of the world, history of Japan, history of many things. So yeah, it's a good experience for me too. Anyway, I've been talking for like 88 minutes, so let's make it to 90 minutes so that it's like, good, like hour and a half. So I have about 1 minute and 30 seconds to go. Do you guys have any more questions before I go? And if you enjoy watching my YouTube live, please do leave me a comment and let me know what kind of other topics that you want me to talk about. Mainly, today I talked about China, Canada, US, and other stuff too. I usually talk about China because I lived in China for 2 years. I met so many wonderful people. I really like that country. So I want more people to know what a great country it is, what a great people they have, what a great culture they have, and everything. So usually I talk about China. but sometimes I talk about something else. And I've been talking in Japanese and English, but I can actually speak Chinese as well. So I can also talk in Chinese. I do speak muy poquito español, but not good enough to talk about China yet. So I'm practicing that. And what else? And if you guys are studying Chinese, we can talk about how to study Chinese language as well. And what else? A very good live. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comment. Thank you everyone who gave me the comment today. Doing the live alone, sometimes I feel lonely, but receiving these comments, I'm really happy. And usually, I post videos every Wednesday for the past 2 years, maybe, and sometimes I do receive comments, but it's nothing like these live comments because we actually get to have a conversation. So I really like that. So if you enjoy watching, arigato, thank you, David. If you enjoy watching today's live, please do leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and please come back to my YouTube live. I try to do it every week, at least once a week. I'm trying to do twice a week sometimes whenever I can, but at least once a week I'll do YouTube live. Wednesday night, Japanese time Wednesday night, I will post a video. I'm posting short videos every day for the month of January. And if you have anything else that you want to ask me, please do leave me a comment. So thank you everyone. フェイちゃん感谢大家。ありがとうございます。Spasiba, gracias. Merci beaucoup. 감사합니다. So whoever is watching, thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you. ありがとうございます。下次再见。拜拜。